Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're diving into the pretty strange, super intense, and let's be honest, sometimes chaotic push for AI inside Meta. Is all this effort actually making people more productive? Or is it just a huge, expensive show? Let's get into it. We're kicking things off with this quote from NVIDIA's CEO because, wow, it just perfectly sums up the obsession that's gripping Silicon Valley right now. The idea is simple, right? The more AI you use, the more of these tokens you burn through, the more valuable you are. But is it really that simple? To really understand what's going on, we have to look inside Meta. They ran this fascinating internal experiment that gives us the perfect window into this whole trend. It all started with something they called cloudnomics. And what's wild is that this wasn't some big top-down corporate mandate. Nope. A single employee just built a leaderboard to track who was using AI tools the most, and it just exploded, eventually tracking over 85,000 people. The numbers were just staggering. In just 1 month, employees burned through 60 trillion AI tokens. Now, remember, a token is just a tiny piece of text, like a word. A simple chat with an AI might use a few thousand. So we are talking about an absolutely astronomical amount of activity. And to get people hooked, they gamified the whole thing. They started handing out these fun video game-style titles to the top users. I mean, who wouldn't want to be called a token legend or cache wizard at work? The whole system was built to be addictive. But as you can probably guess, when you turn work into a high-stakes game, you get some pretty serious unintended consequences. And yeah, the cracks started to show, and they showed up fast. You know, the goal was clear. Get everybody using AI to spark some real innovation. But the reality, it was a mess. Some employees figured out how to game the system, just leaving AI agents running in the background to pump up their scores. And worse, it led to a public data leak. The whole thing eventually had to be shut down. So get this, the experiment didn't end because it was a bad idea. It ended because its data leaked to the public. And believe me, this wasn't some isolated incident. Meta was having some other, even bigger problems with its AI. For example, one data leak was so bad, the company called it a Sev1 incident. That's basically one step below a full-blown catastrophe. And then there's this almost hilarious story where Meta's own head of AI safety had her personal AI agent go rogue and start deleting her entire Gmail inbox. She said she had to run to her computer like I was defusing a bomb just to stop it. You can't make this stuff up. So all of this brings us to the much bigger picture. The problems at Meta, they weren't just about one little leaderboard. They were a symptom of a much, much broader mindset across the entire industry. And that mindset has a name: token maxing. It's this core belief that using the most AI tokens is the ultimate sign of productivity. It's not about what you build, it's about signaling to everyone that you're taking AI very seriously. Which brings us right back to this incredible quote. You have the CEO of the world's most important AI chip company basically saying his top engineers should be spending half their salary on AI computing power. When leaders talk like that, it creates this immense pressure to prove you're all in. And it is not just NVIDIA. Meta's own CTO, Andrew Bosworth, said the exact same thing. He praised an engineer who supposedly got a 10x productivity boost by spending his own salary on tokens, and told him to keep going with, quote, no upper limit. This is the kind of internal message that creates a culture where activity looks better than actual achievement. So what is actually wrong with this? Well, the problem is confusing activity with value. And this is a super old problem in the tech world. It's just got a new AI disguise. Here's the fatal flaw in the logic. Token consumption is an input metric. It measures how much work you're putting in. It says nothing about the output, the quality, or the value of what you actually create. It's like measuring how much gas you're burning instead of how far you've actually driven. We have seen this movie before. You know, back in the 80s, developers were judged by how many lines of code they wrote, a notoriously terrible metric. In the 2000s, it was calls per hour in call centers, which just ruined customer service. Token consumption is just the newest version of measuring the wrong thing. And this whole AI obsession, it isn't just some abstract cultural thing. It has very real, very tangible consequences for the people who actually work at these companies. Meta just recently cut around 200 jobs, and they were very clear it was part of their big push to become an AI-first company. So this isn't just about hiring new people, it's about fundamentally changing the entire workforce. And here's the playbook for how they're doing it. First, they're getting rid of traditional middle managers. In their place, they're creating these new hands-on roles, like AI builder. And maybe most important of all, AI-driven impact is now a core part of every single employee's performance review. The message is crystal clear: adapt or you're out. So, all of this just brings us right back to our big question. What are we actually watching here? Is this a real, genuine leap forward in how we work, or is it something else? At the end of the day, this is the question we're left with. Is this whole token maxing craze actually driving a transformation? Or are we just watching a very, very expensive performance? A great story being told where looking busy with AI is way more important than the results. That's the question the entire tech industry is going to have to answer, and probably pretty soon.